One of the things as astrophotographers that we need to do is to take our calibration frames. One in particular, the flat frames, can be a little bit tricky. I'm going to show you how to do it really quick and easy. Stick around. So again, with astrophotography, we need to take calibration frames. Those are your darks, your bias, and your flats that we use in order to create our final images. So a lot of people will use a white t-shirt that goes over the top of the telescope, and they'll shine a light over top. And that can be tricky because you're not really sure how bright to make the light. If you've got any, darker spots that you're creating more of a vignette or not. It works, but again, it means you need to be there and be active with it. One of the things that I use is something I've had for a while, and it's just one of these key lights. Now, I'm not saying get one of these because they're not cheap. They're not overly expensive, but they work really well. And it's one of these Elgato key lights, and they come in different sizes. This one's the big one. This is the original. There's one about a quarter of the size, I think. Or maybe a little bit bigger than that, which is perfect for plunking right on top of your telescope. And what's great about it is you can adjust the brightness. And for these, you just set it to the whitest white it has, because it'll have a slider for cool or warm, put it right in the middle. And then the brightness, I crank that all the way down to minimum, and it works just great. And what's great about it, if you have an ASIAIR, is instead of using the power plug that plugs in here and then plug it into an outlet, is you just get one of these cables from Amazon or wherever, and they are very similar to what you would get with your ASIAIR or the components to be able to plug in the power, but it's just two ends of the same that will fit the ASIAIR and this. I'll put the plug sizes in an example of an Amazon link of example product of what you can get for these, because they are slightly different sizes. But I think even if you got both the same sizes, it'll work. There's a bit of play and margin for that. But you just plug in one of the ends, into the power. Pretty simple. There's a switch to turn on, and then this just plugs into your ASIAIR, into the power ports, and you're not having to muck with outlets. Stick this on top, plug it in, and you're back inside using the ASIAIR to take your flats. So to do that, let me show you how I go about the process of first of all getting the telescope set up, and then using the ASIAIR to actually do the work. So let's go do that now. So let's get the telescope set up. First, let's get the ASIAIR turned on, and we'll wait for that beep. And of course, we'll do our quick alignment. Just get the mount correctly synced with the ASIAIR. Let's get the telescope pointing straight up at the zenith. And finally, let's put the flat panel on top of the scope. And then of course, let's get it plugged in. In this case, we're going to plug it in straight into the ASIAIR here, as we can see. And then lastly, let's turn it on. Now I've already got mine automatically set to the dimmest setting. It remembers that, which is another great thing about this panel. But now we're ready to go ahead and take our flats. Okay, now that we have everything set up as far as the scope itself goes, now it's time to actually tell the ASIAIR that we want to take some flats. And thankfully, it does this really easily and makes things super simple for you to do. We will go to auto run, tap on those three lines. I will actually uncheck these. I'll create some new ones. So you just hit the plus button here, and then you say you want to do some flats. And what it does, you'll notice that the exposure changes to auto. If you're doing lights, you get to set how long, how many seconds you want your exposures to be. The flats on the ASIAIR does it auto, which is amazing. So based on whatever light source that it has coming into the scope and the camera, it'll adjust things to give you the proper gain you need in order to get perfect flats. So the only other thing you need to do is pick which filter you want this one to do, and you will do this each for, in my case, I'm doing SHO, so for the sulfur 2, the hydrogen alpha, and the O3. And how many you want. So you may want flats. I would suggest doing 30, 60, just do 30. And binning, just leave as bin 1, and you're done. And so there's your S2. I'll do the same thing for HA. I'm going to do 30. And O3. Obviously, it makes it easy if you have a filter wheel. If you didn't, you would just set up one of these and put your filter in that you need, and then just rinse and repeat. You would then reset it and set the, let me just finish this to 30. You would just reset it each time and then rerun it for each of your filters as you put them in. But since we have filter wheel, we can just put all 3 of them in here, and we go back out of here and we just hit run. So the light's on there already. Here at the bottom, you see at the bottom right, it's calculating the exposure it needs based on the light coming in, and it's going to start. There we go. It's made its first flat for the S2 filter, and so it's going to go ahead and do 30 of those. And then it's going to go on to the next filter and do 30 of those, and off it'll go. So we'll just let it run here and we'll come back. And there we are. We're all done taking our flats. And now we can just throw the lens cap back on and throw the cover if you have one on. And you can do your darks and do your biases, and you've got all your calibration frames ready to go. That's how easy it is. Sometimes taking flats can be a bit of a pain in the butt, but for me, that's been the easiest way to do it. And if you have an ASIAIR, I can't recommend it enough. I'm not sponsored. I wish, but they just make these kind of things really easy. So I'm pretty sure you could probably do something similar on Nina. I haven't tried, but that's another option as well. So with that, that's all I have for you on this one. If you have any comments or questions, again, please just have a write down below. I'd love to hear from you. And other than that, thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.